Hello, and welcome to the Steve and Mark Discuss podcast. As usual, Steve has found something in the news which he considers of interest. He will now speak about it, and I will respond to him, and he may respond back to me accordingly. So, over to Steve.
Hi, people, again. What a strange world we live in. Just when you thought that the UK government couldn't get any stranger, it just did. So here we go. Bit of the backstory. Rishi Sunak decided to have a shuffle or a reshuffle in his cabinet members and drafted in out of nowhere what's his name? David Cameron.
Yeah.
Lord David Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
Who isn't even going to turn up to the House of Commons. He's going to be doing his job from the House of Lords. Not too sure how many times that's happened before.
It's happened once. Yeah.
Has it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that means that David Cameron can't be questioned by any MPs. Because he's going to do it remotely. And of course, Suella Braverman, she left with a flea behind the ear.
Yeah.
And started shooting her mouth off like a little child. And bravely brought in to cover her spot. And the first thing he said was, "We're going to get the small boat situation sorted out." Well, of course, they've been saying that for 10 years. The British government have been saying that for 10 years. And when he said that, I just sort of phased out. I just couldn't. I just couldn't understand anything else he said after that, because it's just same old.
The script is the same. Yes.
Yeah. So that of course brought us a little bit further forward to this thing about Rwanda. And whether to ship off these illegal immigrants to Rwanda to wait for their visas to be approved or not. And of course, it was voted out by the British justice system. Who could have seen that coming? And this is after years and years and millions of pounds of taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
It was voted down, and so Rishi Sunak basically said, "Look, I'm going to break the law. We're going to send them there anyway."
Oh, good. Yeah.
He's going to change the status of Rwanda of all of a sudden being a friendly country. And not being a country of preoccupation, I suppose.
Concern. Yeah.
Concern. And it's going to be a friendly country. So, in spite of changing the aspect of the globe of where's safe and where is not safe on the stroke of a pen, the actual execution of what he's wanting to do just does not make sense.
Yeah.
Because there are thousands of illegal immigrants coming into the UK each week.
Oh, yeah.
And an aeroplane can take 200, 300 people, and it's a very expensive. It's a very expensive pastime.
Yeah.
To be ferrying people from the UK to Rwanda. Now, I've heard lots of nice things about Rwanda, and I'm thinking when the once the first illegal immigrants reach there, they realise that it's nice and sunny, and it's nice and safe. That word will spread around, and hopefully everybody's going to run to Rwanda instead of coming to the cold
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Cold and damp British Isles.
Keep it quiet. The British population might want to move there.
Right. Well, we moved here. We
Yeah,
moved here to.
that's it. Yeah, yeah. We've been promoting here. Yeah, there's not sun and everything. Yeah, yeah. But,
So
yeah.
anyway, but this is not where the story ends,
No.
because of course the world revolves, continues revolving, and it didn't do anything else. A few days after the protests in the UK about what's going on in Israel and
Yeah.
in the Gaza Strip, uh, Labour ministers in the shadow cabinet all but resigned yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Because the Keir Starmer wouldn't ask for a ceasefire in Gaza.
Yeah.
So we have 8 shadow ministers: Paula Baker, Rachel Hopkins, Afshal Khan, he must be English, Sarah Owen, Jess Phillips, Yasmin Qureshi, another true blue Brit, Naz Shah, yet another, and Andy Slaughter. Nice name, Andy. And 2 private secretaries, although they don't say who the private secretaries are being secretary for, which is Dan Carden and Mary Foy. Now I looked up about if shadow ministers get paid more than everybody else because they're a minister of some sort. But they don't. They get paid the same as a backbencher.
Yeah.
So, being the minister is more symbolic than anything else. So giving up your seat, your ministerialship, when you're a shadow minister isn't all that much of a great deal. It's more symbolic than anything else.
Well, okay, fair enough, but yeah.
But what we found out in the same piece that I read in the Daily Mail, it said that half of the Muslim electorate is dissatisfied with the situation in the Labour Party. But however, 2/3 will vote Labour.
Okay.
In the next elections. But of course, that means that a third won't. Right? They're going to go elsewhere. Well. So, I imagine that these people, these shadow ministers who have resigned, their constituency must be very densely populated with Muslim voters, which is why they're kicking up the stink. I know that Jess Phillips, Jess Legsy Phillips, if you remember that story.
Yeah.
Right. I know that she's from a highly populated, Muslim populated region.
Right. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know if they're doing that just to save their seat rather than what they truly believe.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they're there to represent their electorate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So let's do it like that.
Yeah.
So they should really reflect what their electorate wants and not necessarily what they want, depending on what it is, of course.
Unless they can have a good reason why they're going against the electorate and can explain it. Yeah. I mean,
well, politicians, their job is to try and justify what their decisions are.
Yeah, I mean,
if you agree with them or not,
Yeah,
so, like I said, depends on what they're deciding on.
Yeah.
They'll go with their electorate or against them. If it's more money to them.
Yeah, self-interest. I don't know. The way, yes, I mean, it's human nature. You look after yourself, but yes, I do sometimes see. I do think a majority of politicians are decent people, whatever we may think. A majority. I'd like to think there's a majority. Okay.
Probably because you don't know them.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I mean, no, I mean, yeah, I could be cynical and cynical and cynical. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I mean,
I am.
yeah. How can I put it? I'm trying to be a reasonable guy here, give people the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I'm not going to read what every politician feels about. I mean, I know my own politician. I can in the UK. I still have a vote in the UK. I'm not going to say who my politician is there. I do try and keep tabs on what he's doing and what he's not doing. I know I could write to him. I've written to him in the past in the responses. I don't agree with everything he does, but yeah, if he does justify why he acts the way he does. But ultimately, yes, you're quite right. They should reflect what the voters say, and also if you've got an individual problem. But yeah, I'll do another talk another day about politics and politicians and things. But yeah, with regards, obviously, you're saying the reflection of some of the politicians' names is a reflection of British society now. Second, third, fourth generation, possibly. And yeah, now, yeah, we do talk privately. I mean, Suella Braverman, I think she did a good letter, personally. It's something I might have written. She was probably in a corner. She knew what was going on, came out fighting one way or another. You may or may not agree with what she put in the letter, the way she did it. I thought it was brilliant. I mean, yeah, that could be a generational thing. That could be a personality thing. Yeah, I mean, she was quite strong. I mean, she certainly got the debate. Mind you, Rishi Sunak got the one up on her and put David Cameron in, which got everybody else talking about that instead. David Cameron returning, not a good look. Mr. Sunak, not a good look. I don't know. I mean, he's not an idiot, Cameron isn't. I don't know what the thinking is there. Maybe we have to accept that we're not in a democracy. Oh, sorry, I'm probably a bit strong. Yeah.
David Cameron turned his back on the British government.
But he did. But
yeah,
people said he acted with honour. He should have accepted it and carried on. Maybe he felt in a weakened position. Okay, he may have acted with honour on that. I don't know. Who knows, as we've just said, what motivates politicians sometimes. With regard to the Rwanda situation, yes, there's been a lot of money given to Rwanda, given that Germany are now looking at it and other European nations. And the Rwandans are more than happy. I mean, there's something like millions of pounds gone out there to prepare accommodation for these people. And from what I can tell, most African people are quite welcoming of others. It's not a strange country, as you said. I've seen pictures of it, and I'm thinking, if I was living in the UK at the moment, saw some of the accommodation that's been prepared and everything, where are these planes? You know, can I sneak aboard one?
I'd probably be like the guys coming out of Afghanistan, clinging onto the side of the aeroplane, trying to get out there.
Yeah, I mean. My thinking was, well, okay, if it's flights or like numbers, I mean, a couple of C-130s, a big Hercules aircraft. They're good enough. They're good enough for the British troops. They'll be good enough for the people to fly there with.
When you talk about Rwanda, half of the male population disappeared because of their civil wars.
Yeah,
that they had.
Exactly.
And that's probably why they've got open arms. Because they've got space to allow people in.
Yeah.
It's making them money.
Yeah.
Whoever knows, and I say this in a good sense.
Yeah.
You know, they could be servicing their ladies, their women. You know, to get the population back up to scratch.
Yeah.
You know.
Ukraine? Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Sorry?
I said Ukraine. Sorry.
Yeah. You could be talking about
that. Yeah. Again, yeah. I mean, I mean, I do believe in being humanitarian. I'm a Christian and think and everything else. And if people are genuine, um, again, a lot of the problem is coming from Europe as well. That Europe just see England as the UK as a dumping ground. Let's be honest, it's mainly England, but yeah, the UK is a dumping ground. Um, it's an issue. Um, I do think that Sorella Braverman was up against. It's nicknamed the Blob, which is a term that came from the US, admittedly. If you remember watching the film The Blob years ago, and I think they remade it, it just all engulfed everything. That's the civil service. It's known as the Blob. It has its own agenda. It's got this Humphreys and others there who get their agendas over the ministers. So again, we did a comedy program about it in the 80s in the UK, and little did we know it was a documentary. Well, even Margaret Thatcher said it was a documentary in all but words. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, the UK at the moment, does it have a political crisis? I think all parties do. There are some up and coming parties that many of the British population are looking at, one in particular, maybe two, who seem to be occupying some of the same space, not totally. A middle ground, you could argue, two middle ground parties that are not extreme one way or another. The people operating them are being vilified, which means they must be doing something right, being vilified by the establishment and media, which means they must be doing something right. As I say, when you're over the target, the flat gets worse. Yeah.
One of them's absconded to the jungle.
Yeah. Maybe that could be a good move, publicity-wise. I mean, let's just face it. We now have more people interested in reality television than what's actually happening in the world.